The breaking point, Elena Rodriguez Sterling sat in the empty doctor's office, her hands trembling as she clutched the ultrasound photos of their unborn daughter. The black and white images felt cold in her fingers, just like the metal chair she'd occupied alone for the past hour. Dr. Williams had been patient, explaining every detail of their baby's development, while Elena nodded and smiled. But inside, her heart was fracturing with each passing moment that Marcus failed to appear. This wasn't the first time. Over the past 5 months, her husband had missed 3 prenatal appointments, 2 birthing classes, and countless dinners that had grown cold while she waited for him to come home from Sterling Technologies. Each absence felt like a small betrayal. But today's missed appointment was different. Today was supposed to reveal the gender of their first child, a moment they had both eagerly anticipated. Since discovering the pregnancy, Lena drove home through the bustling streets of downtown Seattle, her mind churning with a mixture of hurt and determination. The penthouse apartment felt cavernous and sterile when she entered. Despite its million-dollar view of Elliott Bay, she placed the ultrasound photos on the marble kitchen counter and stared at them, feeling the weight of loneliness settle in her chest. Her phone buzzed with a text from Marcus. "Emergency board meeting ran late. Sorry I missed the appointment. How did it go?" The casualness of his message ignited something fierce within her. How did it go? As if she were reporting on a routine grocery run rather than their child's crucial health checkup. Elena's fingers hovered over the keyboard, typing and deleting responses that ranged from heartbroken pleas to angry accusations. Instead, she dialed her mother's number. "Mia, you sound upset?" Carmen Vasquez said immediately, her maternal instincts sharp even through the phone connection from her home in Phoenix. "He didn't show up, Mama. Again." Elena's voice cracked as she explained the situation, her composure finally crumbling. Carmen's silence spoke volumes before she responded with quiet fury. "That's enough, Elena. That man may have billions in the bank, but he's bankrupt when it comes to being a husband and father. Pack a bag. I'm flying up tonight." "Mama, you?" "Don't need to. I'm not asking, Mia. Call Jonathan Martinez. If Marcus wants to play businessman instead of husband, then let's speak his language." Lena knew there was no arguing with her mother when Carmen used that tone. As she hung up, she felt something shift inside her chest, not just hurt anymore, but resolve. She was tired of making excuses for Marcus's absence, tired of feeling like a single parent before their child was even born. Been their family lawyer for years, handling everything from their prenuptial agreement to Marcus's charitable foundation paperwork. When Elena called him that evening, explaining through tears what she needed, his usually jovial voice turned serious and professional. "Elena, are you sure you want to do this? Confronting Marcus at his office with your mother and me present? It's going to send a very clear message." She looked at the ultrasound photos spread across her dining table, at the empty chair where Marcus should have been sitting to examine them with wonder and joy. "Jonathan, I need him to understand that this marriage, this family, has to come first. If showing up at his precious company with witnesses is what it takes to get his attention, then that's exactly what we're going to do." That night, as Elena lay in their king-sized bed, she felt their daughter's first strong kicks against her ribs. She placed both hands on her belly and whispered, "Don't worry, little one. Mama's going to make sure Daddy remembers what's truly important." The Confrontation, the 32nd floor of Sterling Technologies, hummed with the quiet efficiency of corporate power. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a commanding view of Seattle's skyline, while sleek glass conference rooms buzzed with morning meetings. Elena had been here countless times for company galas and holiday parties, but never like this, never as a woman prepared for battle. Carmen Vasquez stepped out of the elevator first, her silver hair pulled back in an elegant chignon, wearing a sharp navy blazer that meant business. At 62, she carried herself with the authority of someone who had raised 3 children as a single mother while building her own successful catering empire. Behind her, Jonathan Martinez adjusted his wire-rimmed glasses and straightened. His charcoal suit jacket, his leather briefcase containing documents that could change everything. Elena followed, her hand instinctively resting on her rounded belly. She had chosen her outfit carefully, a flowing emerald dress that accentuated her pregnancy paired with the pearl earrings Marcus had given her on their first anniversary. She wanted him to see exactly what he was neglecting. Mrs. Sterling. Marcus's assistant, Rebecca, jumped up from her desk, clearly flustered. Mr. Sterling is in the quarterly board meeting, scheduled to run until we'll wait, Carmen said firmly, settling into one of the plush waiting chairs as if she owned the place. Through the glass walls of the corner conference room, Alina could see Marcus at the head of a polished table, gesturing animatedly at financial projections, displayed on multiple screens. 12 board members hung on his every word as he discussed market expansion and profit margins. He looked every inch the billionaire tech mogul, sharp gray suit, perfectly styled dark hair, commanding presence that had once made her heart race. Now, it just made her heart ache. 20 minutes passed. Alina watched Marcus laugh at something. Board member Patricia Chen said. Watched him lean back in his chair with the confidence of a man who controlled every aspect of his world. Except he was losing control of the most important part, and he didn't even realize it. Can't wait anymore, Alina whispered to her mother. Carmen's eyes flashed with understanding. Then we don't wait. Alina stood and walked toward the conference room, her heels clicking against the polished concrete floors. Rebecca scrambled after her, pleading in hushed tones. But Alina was done being patient. She pushed open the glass door, just as Marcus was mid-sentence about quarterly projections. ... which brings our projected revenue growth to 18%, assuming we can secure the Nashville Alina. 12 pairs of eyes turned toward her. The room fell into stunned silence as Alina stepped inside, followed by her mother and Jonathan. Marcus's face cycled through confusion, embarrassment, and something that might have been fear. I'm sorry to interrupt, Alina said, her voice steadier than she felt, but we need to talk now. Board member Robert Kingston cleared his throat uncomfortably. Perhaps we should reschedule, no? Alina said firmly. This won't take long. She looked directly at Marcus, seeing him truly for the first time in months. Dark circles shadowed. His eyes and his usually perfect appearance showed signs of strain. Yesterday, at 2 p.m., I sat alone in Dr. Williams' office while she showed me pictures of our daughter. Our daughter, Marcus. The one you've been too busy to meet. Marcus's face went pale. Several board members shifted uncomfortably in their seats, clearly wanting to escape the intimate family drama unfolding in their professional space. Alina, please, can we discuss this at home? No. Her voice carried a strength she didn't know she possessed. We can't discuss it at home because you're never there. We can't discuss it over dinner because you miss those two. So we're discussing it here, in the place that apparently matters more to you than your family. Carmen stepped forward, her presence commanding even in the corporate boardroom. My daughter has been nothing but supportive of your career, Marcus. She's attended every company function, smiled through every late night, made excuses for every missed moment. But missing the ultrasound where you could have seen your daughter for the first time? That crosses a line. Jonathan opened his briefcase with deliberate precision. Alina asked me to come today to discuss some adjustments to your current arrangements. Arrangements that better reflect the reality of this marriage. The threat hung in the air like smoke. Alina watched Marcus's Adam's apple bob as he swallowed hard, finally understanding that this wasn't just a momentary emotional outburst. This was his wife, backed by her family and legal counsel, drawing a line in the sand. I think Patricia, Chen said quietly, standing. The board should reconvene later. As the executives filed out, their murmurs and uncomfortable glances trailing behind them, Alina remained standing in the suddenly empty conference room. It's just her, Marcus, her mother, and Jonathan, and the weight of a marriage hanging in the balance, Alina, Marcus said, his voice barely above a whisper. I can explain. Unexpected vulnerability, the conference room felt impossibly large, with just the four of them remaining. Marcus stood frozen at the head of the polished table, his usual commanding presence crumbling as he faced the three people who held his future. In their hands, the financial projections still glowed on the wall-mounted screens behind him, but the numbers that had seemed so important minutes ago now felt meaningless. Explain. Alina's voice carried a tremor she couldn't hide. Explain. How building your empire became more important than building our family. Marcus loosened his tie with shaking fingers, a gesture so unlike his usual composed demeanor that even Carmen raised an eyebrow. Jonathan remained silent, his briefcase open but untouched, letting the family drama unfold before him. "Understand?" Marcus began, then immediately stopped himself. "No, that's not right." "You understand perfectly, and I've been an idiot." He walked around the table, moving closer to Alina, but stopping short of touching her, as if afraid she might disappear. "I've been working 18-hour days for months, missing everything that matters, and I told myself it was for you. For us, but that's just another lie I've been telling myself." Alina's hand tightened protectively over her belly. "Then tell me the truth, Marcus, because I can't keep living like a widow while married to a ghost." Something cracked in Marcus's carefully constructed facade. His shoulders sagged, and for the first time since Alina had known him, he looked genuinely lost. "My father was never there," he said quietly. "Richard Sterling was always traveling, always in meetings, always building the next big thing. My mother used to set a place for him at dinner every night until I was 12, and then she just stopped. Stopped setting the place, stopped waiting, stopped caring." Carmen's expression softened slightly, though her posture remained defensive. "So you decided to repeat his mistakes?" "No," Marcus's voice broke. "I swore I'd never be like him. But somewhere along the way, I convinced myself that if I could just build something big enough, secure enough, create a foundation that could never crumble, then I could be different, better. I could give my family everything he never gave us." He reached into his jacket pocket and pulled out a key card, his hands visibly trembling. 3 months ago, I started working with the architectural firm Thompson & Associates. I bought land in Bellevue, 30 acres overlooking Lake Washington. I've been spending every spare moment designing something I thought you'd love, a home for our family. Not just a house, Alina, a place where our children could run and play, where you could have your art studio with perfect natural light, where we could host holidays and create memories. Alina stared at the key card as if it might bite her. "Are you talking about? I wanted to surprise you. I wanted to present you with something incredible, something that proved how much I love you and our baby." Marcus's voice grew thick with emotion. "But I got so caught up in the planning and the secret meetings with contractors and designers that I forgot the most important part wasn't the surprise, it was being present for the journey." Jonathan cleared his throat. "What? Marcus, you're saying you've been absent because you were planning a home?" "I know how it sounds," Marcus said desperately. "I know it sounds like another excuse, another way to justify putting business before family. But Alina, I have blueprints in my office safe. I have invoices from contractors, emails with landscape designers. Every late night, every missed dinner, I was trying to build something perfect for us." Alina felt tears burning behind her eyes. The anger that had sustained her for months warred with the pain in Marcus's voice, the vulnerability she'd never seen him display. "You missed our baby's ultrasound to plan a nursery." "I missed it because I'm terrified," Marcus whispered, the admission seeming to cost him everything. "I'm terrified of becoming my father. I'm terrified of failing you the way he failed my mother. I'm terrified that I don't know how to be the husband and father you both deserve. So I threw myself into the one thing I do know how to do, build something from nothing." He sank into one of the conference chairs, his head in his hands. "All I built was a wall between us. And I didn't even realize it until I saw you walk through that door with your mother and Jonathan. I saw the look in your eyes, Alina, and I knew I'd already lost the most important thing in my life." Carmen looked between her daughter and son-in-law, her protective anger wavering in the face of Marcus's raw honesty. "Building a house doesn't make you a good father, Marcus." "I know," he said, looking up at her with red-rimmed eyes. "Being present does. Being there for every appointment, every milestone, every ordinary Tuesday evening. I thought I was being romantic and thoughtful, but I was just being selfish in a different way." Alina felt their daughter kick, as if responding to the emotional tension in the room. She placed both hands on her belly, trying to process everything Marcus had revealed. The hurt was still there, sharp and real, but underneath it was something else, a recognition of the fear that had driven him to such misguided extremes. "Show me," she said quietly. "Show me these plans. Show me this house you think is worth more than your presence at our child's first ultrasound." Marcus looked up at her with something that might have been hope. "You want to see it?" "I want to understand," Alina said. I want to understand how the man I married convinced himself that love means working alone in the shadows instead of holding my hand in a doctor's office. The truth unveiled. Marcus's private office occupied the entire northwest corner of the 32nd floor. Its walls lined with awards, patents, and photographs documenting his rise from MIT dropout to tech mogul. But Alina barely noticed the familiar trappings of success as Marcus knelt beside his massive safe, his fingers trembling as he entered the combination. Carmen settled into one of the leather chairs facing Marcus's desk, while Jonathan remained, standing, his lawyer's instincts keeping him alert despite the emotional turn the confrontation had taken. Alina moved to the floor-to-ceiling windows, gazing out at Elliott Bay while her mind reeled from Marcus's revelations. "Here," Marcus said softly, emerging from the safe with a thick portfolio bound in cream-colored leather. His movements were careful, reverent, as if he were handling something sacred. "Alina, please sit." She turned from the window to find him standing behind his desk, the portfolio unopened before him. His usual confidence had been stripped away, leaving behind a man who looked younger somehow, more vulnerable than she'd seen him since their early dating days. Alina took the chair across from him, acutely aware of her mother's watchful presence and Jonathan's quiet attention. Marcus opened the portfolio with careful hands, revealing the first architectural rendering. Her breath caught. The house, no. The estate spread across the page in elegant lines and soft watercolors. It wasn't the cold, modern mansion she might have expected, but something that looked like it had grown from the landscape itself. Stone and timber blended seamlessly with terrace gardens that cascaded down toward the lake. Wide porches wrapped around multiple levels, creating intimate outdoor spaces perfect for morning coffee or evening conversations. "The property backs up to Lake Washington," Marcus explained, his voice gaining strength as he shared his vision. 200 feet of private shoreline. "I thought we could teach our children to sail there, the way my grandfather taught me before he died." He turned the page, revealing detailed floor plans. "The main level has the kitchen you always dreamed about, professional-grade appliances, but designed for a family, not a restaurant. See this breakfast nook? It's positioned to catch the morning light, with built-in benches and storage underneath for toys and books." Alina traced the lines with her finger, seeing how every space had been thoughtfully planned. The kitchen flowed into a great room with a massive stone fireplace, perfect for holiday gatherings. French doors opened onto a terrace that stepped down to a pool designed to look like a natural swimming hole. "The master suite is here," Marcus continued, turning to another page. "Complete privacy, but connected to the main house." "And Alina, ... His voice grew thick with emotion. "I had them design your studio with 18-foot ceilings and skylights positioned to give you perfect north light all day long. There's a separate entrance, so you can work without interruption, but it's connected to the house through this covered walkway." Carmen leaned forward to examine the plans, her expression shifting from skepticism to genuine surprise. "Marcus, this is beautiful. But when did you have time to plan all this? Every morning before work, every lunch break, every night after you fell asleep?" Marcus admitted, looking at Alina. "Been meeting with architects since before we knew about the baby. Then when we found out you were pregnant, everything changed. I started obsessing over every detail." He flipped through more pages, showing her the nursery he'd planned, a circular room in the tower section of the house, with windows on 3 sides and a reading nook where Alina could nurse while watching the lake. "Oh, why watching the lake? And here's what I was most excited about," he said, his voice barely above a whisper. "A playroom that connects to a mudroom so our kids can come inside messy from playing outside. There's even a pet door, because I know you've always wanted a dog." Alina reached into her purse and pulled out the ultrasound photos, placing them on top of the architectural plans. "Her name is going to be Isabella Rose Sterling. She's healthy and perfect, and she kicks like she's already trying to escape and find her daddy." Marcus stared at the grainy images, his face transforming as the reality of his daughter hit him fully for the first time. "She's beautiful," he breathed. "She's perfect." "Yes," Alina said. "And she deserves a father who will be there for her. First steps, not just her first house, new beginnings." 3 months later, Sound of laughter echoed across the terrace gardens of the Sterling family estate as friends and family gathered for an early autumn housewarming party. The house that had once existed only in architectural drawings now rose majestically from the landscape, its stone and timber facade glowing golden in the late afternoon sun. Alina stood on the main terrace, one hand resting on her now prominently rounded belly, watching Marcus demonstrate the outdoor pizza oven to a group of his former board members. The irony wasn't lost on her; those same executives who had witnessed their confrontation 3 months ago were now marveling at the home that had nearly cost them their marriage. "He's different," Carmen observed, joining her daughter at the stone balustrade. She held a glass of sparkling cider, having appointed herself unofficial hostess for the evening. "I wasn't sure I believed it at first, but Marcus really has changed." Alina smiled, thinking of all the ways her husband had transformed since that day in his conference room. The architectural plans had been modified, the home office relocated to a detached building so work could never again invade their family's space. Marcus had insisted on adding a meditation garden where Alina could find peace during the stressful final months of pregnancy. "Look at that," Carmen chuckled, nodding toward the lawn where Marcus was on his hands and knees helping their 6-year-old nephew David build something with blocks, while Patricia Chen's toddler used his back as a climbing gym. 6 months ago, I never would have imagined seeing Marcus Sterling covered in grass stains and cookie crumbs. It was true. Once scheduled bathroom breaks between meetings now kept his phone in a drawer during family time. He attended every prenatal appointment, asked detailed questions about fetal development, and had already assembled the crib twice because he'd been so nervous the first time that he'd put it together backwards. Jonathan Martinez approached them, carrying a plate laden with food from Carmen's catering spread. "Lena, I have to admit, when you called me that day, I wasn't sure what we were walking into. But I've never been happier to put away legal documents unused." "The separation papers are still in my safe," Elena said quietly. "Yes. I kept them as a reminder not of how close we came to losing everything, but of how strong our love had to become to survive." Dr. Williams appeared at Elena's elbow, having been invited to celebrate with the family whose journey she'd witnessed from the beginning. "How are you feeling, Mama? Any contractions?"
"Ow."
"Just Braxton Hicks," Alina replied, rubbing her belly where Isabella seemed to be practicing gymnastics. "She's active today, probably excited about all the visitors." "Speaking of visitors," Dr. Williams said with a knowing smile, "your husband cornered me earlier asking about labor signs. Again, I think he's more nervous about the delivery than you are." Alina laughed, remembering Marcus's latest obsession: insuring. They had 3 different routes planned to the hospital, complete with traffic pattern analysis and backup drivers on standby. "He's been timing my fake contractions and carrying a stopwatch everywhere." As the sun began to set over Lake Washington, painting the sky in shades of coral and gold, Marcus made his way back to Elena's side. His hair was disheveled from his adventures with the children, and there was chocolate frosting on his shirt from the cake Carmen had insisted on making for the occasion. "How are my girls?" he asked, placing one hand on Elena's belly while the other settled at the small of her baka gesture that had become as natural as breathing over the past few months. "We're perfect," Elena said, leaning into his warmth. "Isabella's been kicking all afternoon. I think she approves of her new home." Marcus pressed a gentle kiss to Elena's temple, a display of affection that would have been unthinkable during his workaholic days. "I was thinking," he said softly, "maybe we should start a tradition. Every year on this date we'll have a party, to celebrate not just the house, but the day we almost lost each other and found our way back." Alina turned in his arms to face him fully, seeing the man she'd fallen in love with reflected in his eyes, but deeper now, more grounded, more present. "I think," she said, reaching up to brush a smudge of dirt from his cheek, "we should celebrate the day we learned that love isn't about grand gestures or perfect surprises. It's about showing up, day after day, for the small moments that matter most." Around them, their friends and family continued to celebrate, filling the house with warmth and laughter. Carmen was teaching Marcus's mother her secret salsa recipe in the kitchen, while Jonathan regaled a group with stories from his legal career. The children had claimed the playroom, their delighted squeals echoing through the house Marcus had built for love. As the first stars appeared over the lake, Marcus pulled Elena closer, both of them watching their daughter's movements ripple across Elena's belly.
Well, then we with my life, wait up, why, I will like doing why I will like wait, why said way to where I will I will do I will less
I think, Elena said, feeling Isabella give a particularly strong kick, as if responding to her father's voice. She's going to keep you on your toes for the rest of your life, and I think that's exactly what you need. Marcus laughed, the sound rich with joy and relief. I love you, Elena Rodriguez Sterling, both of you. I promise, from now on, I'll be present for every moment, the big ones and especially the small ones. Later that night, as they stood together in the master bedroom of their new home, Elena knew that the confrontation that had nearly ended their marriage had actually saved it. Sometimes love needed to be fought for, defended, and rebuilt from the foundation up. Their house was beautiful, but their renewed commitment to each other, that was what would make it a true home. Outside their windows, Lake Washington reflected the moonlight like scattered diamonds. And Elena could already imagine future evenings when she and Marcus would stand in this same spot, watching their daughter and perhaps other children play. In the gardens below, secure in the knowledge that their father would always be there to catch them when they fell.